Welcome, everybody, to the Body, Mind, Living podcast. Yay. My name is Laura Wick. I am so excited for our guest today, Miss Laurie Juszkiewicz. And for those of you who are joining us live, because we are streaming this live as we record this episode, please say hello in the comments. If you have any questions as you're listening, we would love to receive those as well. But today we are talking about an amazing topic, and we have an amazing guest here. We're talking about manifesting, right? The power of manifesting. And specifically, we are talking about the role of embodiment in manifesting. So, hi, I see y'all listening. Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Let me go ahead and introduce our amazing guest. We have Miss Laurie Juszkiewicz with us today. She is a certified BodyMind coach as well as a manifesting and money coach. So, Laurie owns and operates her own private practice where she is a manifesting and money coach and she combines her magical woo energy, I love me some woo, with her practical and tangible steps as she guides her clients on a journey inward to discover how they can become financially free from the inside out. She uses BodyMind Coaching as a tool to help her clients uncover their internal beliefs and internal alignment in relationship and the relationships that coexist within them. And she uses that energy specifically with money. Oh goodness, I think we need to talk a little bit about money today because I know that's a big topic. When Laurie isn't coaching, you will find her outside in her Zen den, floating in her pool with her family or relaxing and just being. Laurie loves riding her bike, reading, learning everything she can, traveling to Maui, cooking nourishing meals, and playing with her dogs, Clark and Phoebe. So welcome, Laurie.
Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited too. Yeah. So we're talking about manifesting today. And I'm always curious when it comes to manifesting, I feel like people have their own journey and their own story that brought them into this idea of manifesting. Can you share a little bit about how you got into this idea of manifesting? What was that for you?
Sure. Yeah. It was one day I was standing in my massage office and I was listening to a podcast and I heard like just this amazing awesomeness come through of like everything that you want and desire, you can have it. And I was just like, what? Like, because I had dreams, right? And I just didn't know like how I was going to make them happen. And, I'm a Virgo. Got to make things happen. Got to like, how do I do this? Right. So, and literally like you can see my hands, like I had that death grip of like how to make it work. Right. So, but that was really the big thing. It gave me this sense of, wait, I'm driving. I'm in charge of my life. I get to steer this beautiful ship and journey, and I can actually have what I desire. I can have my dreams. Like up until that moment, I'd always thought of my dreams as literal pipe dreams. You can't have that. It's too big. You don't know the right people to connect you, like all the things, right? Like all the fears that pop up of like, why this probably won't happen, that inner critic. And so when I heard that sentence, I was like, oh, I have to learn how to do this. I have to learn all there is to know about manifesting.
So before this, it was like dreams, goals, desires, pipe dreams. Like that's too much. You can only have this little bit of the pie, right? Like, because I think this is something that I know we're talking to a group of a lot of healers, feelers, people in like the wellness space. And a lot of women, and I feel like that's something like we're taught that we can only have so much.
Yeah.
And how was that showing up before you found the manifesting? Like, how was that showing up like in your life, in your business? Were you practicing massage at that point? Like, I'm kind of curious of that. And then I want to hear what happened after.
Yeah. So for me, like I was a full-time massage therapist, booked out, oh my gosh, 4 locations, right? And I thought that was the thing that was going to make me happy, right? Like I thought that was going to be the way to my dreams. But then like I saw like woof, right into that ceiling that I wasn't going to physically be able to do that, right? With the way my practice was running. So that was kind of totally capping me. Also, growing up as a kid, right? Like this is where you are. And like, I remember even saying I wanted to like move to somewhere warmer, and they're like, oh, but you'll miss your family. You can't leave that. Right. So like all of these, like that kept me in that space of almost like this is where you are and this is your box. And it's not like a bad way. It's just as I came to uncover it, like my family loves me, like they want you to do great big things. And it was trapping me in that a bit. I wanted to travel. It's like, why do you want to travel? Like, so up until that moment, I had literally been doing all the things. Like I was supposed to be a lawyer, right? Like I thought so we went on to that journey. And just each time I started to make my way there, something was just off and missing. And I really uncovered that a lot of the things I was doing was actually making other people happy and not myself. So I think that's how just like one thing after another kind of just piled on. And so I just came to believe that this is like your plow, this is your parcel. And then another thing that would come up is like, you'd be grateful for what you have. Don't want to ask for more than you deserve. There are people all around the world that would just love to have the business you have. Like, what's wrong? Like this is thriving. And so that was that space that I literally like felt it one day, just crawling up the back of my shoulders and just tipping over and feeling like I was in this confined space. And I'm like, I got to get out. And
yeah. So then you hear this message on the radio of like, right. So what happened after that when you heard that message of like you're in control? So it kind of like, again, I hear just the perspective shift that happened in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I stepped into possibility. That's what happened in that moment. Up until that moment, I just, and this is the thing with manifesting, right? Like what you believe, that's what shows up, right? What, those habits, those patterns and beliefs are silently running the show. So when I started to do the work of manifesting, when I started to step into possibility, and I had my pen and my paper and I was like writing frantically, step 1, step 2, step 3. Right. And I was like, there's just so much, it was possibility. That is literally, I just felt my body and I was like, I want to do this and I want to teach this. I want to teach others how to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a big moment.
And I know, yeah. So what are some of like, how does that manifesting process look like for you specifically? Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. So manifesting for me, oh my gosh, Laura, this is so cool. Can we talk about the embodiment piece here? Because like this is okay, good.
Well, so and actually, I'll shift gears a little bit because so when we were chatting before, and this is why we decided to do this. Okay, so can I insert a little bit of what I hear when I hear manifesting?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. So. Because I was exposed, I remember hearing about The Secret from one of my massage clients years ago, and like watching the video, reading the book, and I'm like, this is great. And it was like I heard so much of manifesting, and I definitely agree. Your beliefs dictate, like they're silently running the show, and they dictate what shows up. And so when I hear a lot of manifesting, there's often this like, just think it to be true, and it will be true. Like think positive, and I think sometimes like. The idea of toxic positivity sometimes is a bypass and doesn't actually help. So I know like for me, I definitely believe in like visualization and all that stuff in the mindset piece, but there was always something for me that was missing when I hear people talk about manifestation. And this is something that like, I think you and I have chatted about, like, can you share a little bit about your experience and like, we are intentionally leading you someplace, folks.
Yes. Yeah, and this is it. So when you ask, like, what's my practice, right? And this is the piece, like embodiment. So for me, like, you can write. So what I did was, I took out my pen and my paper. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, and I was so in my head about it, right, Laura? And just so like holding on to the outcome. It's going to look like this. I'm driving literally, and it wasn't working. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Most frustrating thing being like a recovering perfectionist, right? Of like, I'm doing this wrong. I have to go back and learn these steps. And it was when I started working with Laura, and Laura started teaching me the embodiment piece, through, BodyMind Coaching. And I was like, oh, hold on, this is like starting. Now we're really moving. And it's amazing that at each place where I needed support, the people popped up into my life to help me get to the next step. And that's, oh my gosh. So the embodiment piece, like, that was because let's put it this way. Like, I know oftentimes when I ask my clients, like, what do you want? Like, what's your vision look like? And they struggle to tell you, right? Like, they really do. But when I shifted that to, how do you want to feel? That was really like that moment of like, people can step into that. People can really, get into that. So for me, embodiment was that game changer. And I take it to like the next level. Like, I remember even when you were like first teaching embodiment, Laura, I was Googling it because I'm like, I want to fully understand embodiment. So I'm like, let me pull up Google, like, right? Like, this is before, working, through all the things here. And so for me, it's like, here's like my Maui hat, right? So when I want to step into Maui, it's like always on my desk when I have like my sunglasses, right? When I have my aromatherapy, all the things that support me and like how I want to feel, like my chapsticks, my lotions, like, because it gives me those moments to just pause, nourish myself, take care of myself, drop back into my body, feel into how I want to feel. And like, that is the thing in manifesting. So, yeah. So once you're clear, okay. Yeah, that's
I want to pull this back a little because you just like unloaded like so much brilliance for everybody who is listening. And I have some follow-up questions. But yeah, so this is one of the things I'll just quickly recap. In BodyMind that we teach, we talk about the 3 brains, and we talk about how the way that you are physiologically wired is how you feel impacts how you think.
Yeah.
So when we talk about manifesting of just think, and you wonder why it feels like it's being forced, it's because you're not accessing like your literal physiology. So and I love what you said about the shift from, because I agree, like I'll put to everybody listening, what do you want? Right? I ask that question to people all day long, and most people tell me what they don't want. 9 times out of 10, when you ask somebody what they want, they will tell you what they don't want. But they like, and especially for women, especially for the healers and feelers, for the emotionally aware folks, to say what you want, there are so many limitations and beliefs underneath it that we are subconsciously like taught throughout our entire life. So when somebody says, what do you want? You feel selfish. You feel like it's too big. You don't feel like it's possible. Like all the things that Laurie was talking about. But if you ask somebody, how do you want to feel? That question engages their physiology and opens them up to I love how you talked about it, opened you up to possibility. Like that shift can actually help somebody move forward. And then what you did there, I love. And like, now I'm going to go and like rearrange my entire office now. Like, do you notice how like when you pulled out the hat, you're not sitting here trying to think your way to Maui. You pull out the hat and you're like, I am in Maui. And it's more about the feeling than it is about the thinking, right? Because the thinking will happen automatically if you already feel like you're in Maui,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear your thoughts. And then I do have a question.
Sure. Yeah. So like, this is the part of like, when you said like, I want to feel like I'm in Maui. Like, these are all the things that like put you back there, because it's like putting you into your body. And once you start to, even if you just have like, Laura shares this off, even if you can just feel it a little bit in the very tip of your pinky, can everyone see just a little bit, right? Because what happens? It just expands. You just step into just a little bit more possibility and just a little bit more. And then your vision is like, oh, wait, hot damn, I want to like live on the ocean in Maui, right? And it just starts to naturally go from there. So you don't have to literally think your way there. That feeling leads you.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit, because when we call how do you want to feel, that's the magic question that we talk about in BodyMind Coaching. Can you talk about like what happened when you started asking that question to your clients, to your massage clients, right? Like, because I know like so many people who listen to us, they're like, I do massage, like this whole thing. It feels a little foreign, but I mean, this is the question I ask my clients. What shifted? Right? Because not that you had to say, hey, I'm going to do manifesting with you, but you were actually bringing manifestation into your sessions now by asking that question. Yes. So what happened? What shifted for them?
So it was mind blowing. Just that at first they were like, wait, what? Right? Because it's just natural. Wait, what? And then I was like, let's just play. Right. And then, you know how like when you're doing a massage and you can literally put your hands on your client and they're not there. Like they're physically there, but they're still running the to-do list. They're still running all the things, right? And then about 15, 20 minutes later, maybe, like you'll feel them. Hopefully, you might feel an exhale, right? Of like, okay, they've arrived, right? But when you start your sessions off asking, how do you want to feel? And then they're like, oh, hold on a second. It gives them something. I call it like a little nugget of food for the brain, right? It gives them something to start playing with, and it gets them off of what that to-do list is running, right? And it brings them back into their body of like, oh, let me see how I want to feel. And oftentimes they would say like relaxed, calm, peaceful. Like, that's how I want to feel, Laurie. Like, okay. And then when you give them like the steps after that, they were like, hot damn, at the end of that massage, they get up off that. They're like, I don't know what you did. And like, I don't do it, but I don't know what you did, but I feel like that now. And if I can just speak for a moment, even like the massage was different, right? Because that tension would just melt and release and shift. Like not only like everything about their body was shifting, right? Like that, it was literally everything about their body. Yeah.
Well, and it's such I think that question also for the practitioner, like, we're taught that we need to, like, most people come in, my shoulder hurts, I have headaches, this hurts. Like, so as a practitioner, we come in, we want to help. And so we're giving our focus and our energy to the pain. But when you ask that, how do you want to feel question, what happens is you're right. Like you're engaging the client's physiology and they're jumping off the to-do list and they're like, oh man, that feels, I feel that calm there. Like they go into it. But I also think for the practitioner, and when you talk about manifesting, you're working towards the thing, right? You're coming from the energy and it shifts that.
Yeah. Totally. 100%. And it just makes, because like you said, it's like literally, it literally shifts the body in that moment. And it gives them like you said, and they're literally manifesting. Now they're focused on how they want to feel.
Yes. I freaking love that. Well, and now, I mean, that's when you did BodyMind. That was a couple years ago. Yes. Now you specifically work with women and money. Can you talk a little bit about just, why specifically women and money? And then maybe talk a little bit about how, again, how this embodiment piece comes in specifically around money.
Okay. Oh my gosh. This is so good. So the piece
God, I love you.
Oh my gosh. This is it's because it's mind blowing. Literally, like as you just start and play with this, it literally just blows your mind. So specifically for money and why I focus there is because I myself became sick and tired of not being able to choose what I wanted. Again, my control, my power was going away to other things. And I was running the story of, I can't afford that. I don't have the money for that. My mom, I love you, Mom. you have to save all your money, put it all in the bank, invest for your future, save for your retirement, right? And I'm like, but I'm alive now. I'm 19, you know? So it was like, I want to live now too. And so I think I know in my heart that is something that drives me, because I hear it so often of, I can't afford that. And it's like, stop saying that, please. Right. Like, because that's a story, and it's like, and it might not feel like you can right now. And it's as you begin to like have this manifesting support you on your way there. So that's how I got started. And so that's why I got started with money. And there's this other wonderful piece of that, the minute like that you release that, I don't want to be confusing, because you do give up some control to receive some control, but it's like that was the big piece. I just didn't want to hear another female say, especially women, I can't afford that, or I need to go save the money or go make the money and then do that.
Or go talk to my spouse.
Yes.
Which I get it. Like, you and I are both married. And I also think it's important, like, you and I are both white women. Like, we know that the privilege that we're starting off with, like, I think I just want to be mindful of that.
Yes. Which that drives me hard as well, right? Because I want to put it in the hands of everyone, and it really helped people with that. So yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just interesting, the stories that we are taught around money. And I think I always say, because again, we work with holistic practitioners, wellness practitioners, massage therapists, a lot of people come into our work with a story around money. And, I love helping practitioners work smarter, not harder. I love helping them make a lot of money, because people who are like, I'm not driven by money, you're going to do a lot of good with money. Yes. Right? Like, and I can also tell you, the story that you have given money is typically a reflection of your internal story of your worthiness.
Yes. I decided to do an exhale on that, because that is so right there. Mm-hmm.
Right. And, so it's interesting to see, like, and I kind of want to go back to what you said about like, you have to give up control to gain control, almost like accepting, like, there are things that I'm not in control of gives you control over that, like, and I'm going to step back into my embodiment and how I want to feel, because I always find it interesting of like, we chatted about this before we got on this call, was, again, I think when people think manifesting is like, envision the house, envision the Lamborghini, like, put the picture on, the diamond necklace, whatever, the thing that you want, right? And that's what you're supposed to focus on, the thing. And if you have these underlying stories of worthiness, and I can't afford this, and somebody has to give me permission to have it. The thing that's so interesting to me is, especially with women, especially with the healers, the feelers, the people who care, it's not about any of that stuff. So when you actually start with the embodiment of how you want to feel, like feeling inspired, free, lit up, open, expansive, what happens is when you actually use the embodiment, like, when you actually feel expansive, and like, I'm just curious, we'll just like, oh my God, Laurie, when we're at the end of today, can you guide us through a little like embodiment manifestation thing? Would that feel good? Okay, then. Yeah. Like, what happens is, when you use embodiment, what I see is like, all of a sudden you're in the energy of the feeling, and the things like, that opens the door for the things to come in, because you're no longer chasing, you're just like allowing. Into being. Yeah. And it's so cool. Like, I'm just so fascinated how all of this started on your massage table.
I know.
Right? Like, to think like, oh, it has to be this big thing. Like, it started there, and now it's morphed into like, yes, you're helping women make money, but you're helping women feel worthy.
Yes.
Fuck, what can that do for the world if women felt worthy to receive?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just so empowering. And I wanted to speak to the point of like, if you're feeling like, I'm not in it for the money and all the things like that, it's like, absolutely. But you are going to be able to help, like you said, help so many people. And it's funny. Is it okay if I share a story about how this showed up for my daughter? Okay. So my daughter, oh my gosh, she's 24. So she's a manifesting generator. So like I taught her all the things about like how she needs to do that. Right. And I don't even think she really listened to me, but it's okay. So she was buying a house this past year. So in our area right now, like property is through the roof, like it's just insane, right? And they were really struggling. Like homes are selling for $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 over asking price, right? So they 11 offers they did. No. Like they were going through all the things. So she found this house, and it was actually $40,000 over the homes where she'd been looking. And she was nervous. I'm like, oh, hell no, we are going to this open house right now. And then that was the thing. Like, she's like, oh, it's, and I'm like, look it up. Let's look it up. She's like, Mom, you're not going to believe this. They're actually having an open house right now. We weren't even going there. We were going somewhere else. I'm like, honey, turn the car around. We're going to this house. We walk in. I'm like, oh my God, I love this house. Right. And my daughter is like, Mom, like it's way higher than we've been looking. And I'm like, good, because there's going to, let's do that. Let's do something different than what you've been doing. Right. So anyway, we put the offer in and it got accepted. And we were like, woohoo, offer number 11 or number 12 was the number. So
very divine, by the way. Yeah.
Yes, isn't it? Yeah. Immediately. Oh my goodness. The contraction shows up, right? That I need to go back. This is too high. This is too much, right? That's what showed up for her. And I was sitting in this room and I'm like, the money will show up. Is this the house you want? Yes. Does this feel like home? Yes. Does this feel like where you want to be for at least the next 10 years? Yes. Is it checking your boxes? Yes. Okay. The money will show up. Do you know within 30 days, she had all the money, like for like the next 6-7 months, her husband got a raise. She got a raise. I mean, they're like, I am so glad that I just felt into that this is where home is. And you do need to leap first. It doesn't come figured out and then the leap. She did need to leap. And now she's like, I'm so glad they're heading to Florida on Tuesday. Like they're still vacationing. Like they were concerned they were going to have to, come back on their life. So I just wanted to share that because it's so powerful of when you can step into that feeling. So even if you're like, oh, as a holistic practitioner, you're like, I don't want to, it's not about the money, right? It's about what you're like, the way that you live and how that shows up for everyone around you, for your kids, for your spouse, for your clients, for your partner, for, whoever that is, for your community. Because you step into that's also, it's kind of like what I was talking about. You have to like release control to gain control too. So.
Can you talk a little bit, because you're a bit of a systems person, like you said, recovering perfectionist, step 1, step 2, step 3. And you said something interesting in there about it's not figure it all out and then do the thing. It's leap first. Can you talk about that, like for the systems people out there, and I just, for those of you listening, like a house might be like a big thing. Like I always think like start small, like start with a little tiny thing, right? And play with that. But can you share a little bit about, like from a systems perspective, that leap first and then the house shows up? Because that has very much been my experience to the point where I now know like, I understand that that's the process, not the figure the whole thing out.
Oh gosh. Yes. So as a high systems person and always being taught as a systems person, right? Of like, this is step 1. How are you going to, go make the money? Step 2, put it in the bank. Step 3, right? Like that's how it showed up literally. And the first time that I
feel like you need to talk about your trip, but go. Is that what you're going to share?
Oh, I got so many of them, Laurel. Like we could share about all.
Give us the first time. Give us the small one.
So
Give us a,
well,
yeah.
I don't start small, Laura. I'm like,
Okay.
hi, I'm like in or
Okay.
out. Like, okay. So the first major leap that I took was actually massage school. I had been a stay-at-home mom. For years, and there's another money story. Oh my goodness. So anyway, we
This
literally
is
could
your
talk all day.
book. This is your book. Okay, go ahead.
I think so too. I think you're onto something. So, it was my first leap. Like, how am I going to pay for this? Oh my gosh. Right. So, I wasn't working and I enrolled in massage school, and, student loans only covered so much. Like, I needed like another $6,000. And my husband was like, okay, hold on. How can we work this out? And I was like, so for me, what came in the mail, was like this opportunity for another loan. And what actually came in was my husband received an overtime stint for 30 days and, like 3 consecutive months. And he was able to come up with the money. And then I had like the other little bit. So like the opportunities came in. So like that was, but I had the bill first.
You chose it first.
But I had the bill first.
Yeah, then it came in. And I think that's that
was the first
what you talk about, like you have to like give up control to gain it, to say like I'm gonna leap and trust. And for me, this is where the embodiment piece comes in, because I'm not saying go leap. No. Just like jump to jump.
You have to feel it.
Mm-hmm. I know how I want to feel. Opportunities present themselves, and I just have this moment where it's like my body knows it's time to take the jump.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I know it just has to happen. And it's like I'm waiting. And this is why, like, this is that intuition. This is what we talk about in BodyMind. Like, to me, it's where the 3 brains have aligned. Mm-hmm. I know in my core, even though I don't see the how quite clearly, mm-hmm. I know when I have that alignment, it's like, and go time. Mm-hmm. And then like the thing will show up like that. I mean, this is something when I've hired people on team, it's always like, it's not Laura has the money in the bank to hire the person. It's like, there's just this knowing, and then it happens, right? When I make an investment, there's like a knowing. When we moved, same thing. I have another question that I was not planning on talking about, but I think it's so important.
Yeah.
Your husband is amazing. Can we just like, yes. Gosh. Amazing husband. So I know we talked about a little bit earlier, you work with women and helping them manifest money.
Yes.
And I know there's one of the things that we talk about, Michelle Rockwood does a great job of talking about this, of there's a difference between asking your spouse permission and asking for your spouse's support. Can you talk about, because the sense that I have with you and hubby is that he is on board with your manifestation.
Yeah.
Versus,
but it wasn't always.
He wasn't always.
No.
Okay, so because I think this is a real concern, right? Like, again, there's, as women are stepping into really owning control and stepping into taking ownership of money and receiving and really doing this worthiness work, the partner thing does come into play.
Yes.
How do you support women in bringing the partner, the spouse, the hubby, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, what is that shift? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. And because I literally had to go through it. And yes. So, and again, and you mentioned this too. It's like, how like when something just feels right, like when in your body that this is the thing that you want to do, right? And
I'm thinking of when you enrolled in BodyMind, by the way.
I know, right? Exactly. When I enrolled in BodyMind, right? And you just know something is right. And how I support people with this moment, because a lot of times, it is, I have to talk to my husband. This is a lot of money. This is things like this. And it's, yes. And you're the one that's going to that job each day. You're the one that's packing up whatever it is. You're the one that's in that energy. And is it supporting how you want to feel as you're moving forward? Because at the end of the day, this is about you. and how you want to show up. And you know, and like you said, and yes, bringing the husband on board, because my husband, was not on board. And, but I asked him 3 questions. Do you trust me? And he said, yes. And I said, do you know that I will do everything in my power for this to work? And it will work out. I will make sure it does. And he said, okay, yes. And I said, I think there was like a 3rd question, like, do you trust me? Do you know that I would never put our family in harm's way? And I said, but I know my body is talking, and I know my body is leading, and I know that this is the way forward. Like, that's how so when I'm talking with clients, that's the energy that I'm coming from, of helping them see like that way through. And the big thing is they are the ones that are in it. How is this supporting you? And it ties into manifesting, right? Because again, like, here's that place. If you are spending 8 hours in a place where you are not loving things, right? And you are like, oh my God, like, this is sucking my soul literally from my body, right? Like, that's impacting and affecting you and your energy level, that vibration, and bringing those things to you. But when you step into the possibility, right? Even when it's scary, because it is sometimes scary, but it's like Laura calls it terrific excited, where you're terrified and you're excited. And when some people say to me, I am so scared, but I'm excited, I'm like, yes, that's the feeling, right? That's exactly what it feels like, because it's both of those places. And then there's a movie, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And there's a moment when Indy is in the cavern. His father has been shot and is dying, and he needs to find the chalice. He needs to find it. And there's like this left side and then there's this pit, and then there's the right side, and he needs to get over here, right? Let me reverse it. He's here. He needs to get here. I see what you're saying now when you have to do that.
Yeah.
So, and he has to cross over, and there's no bridge. There's no nothing. It is so wide open. It's like this expansive like pit, and with no bottom. And it says it's a leap of faith. And that's what you need to. And he says, as soon as he took the stop, the whole time there was a bridge. He leans down, picks up the sand, throws it, and the whole way was lit up for him. That's when I saw that in that movie, I was like, that is trust. That is the surrender. That is the embodiment. That is getting to the other side of where you are. And that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like you're going to fall into a pit and just drop and drop and drop. But the minute you just do it, and like Laura always says, like, it's like, you think it's like way over here. Yeah. It's just like this tiny little step, like your big toe will land on it. Right. So, but it's that embodiment that leads you there. Yeah. And that's
I always think it's like that cliffs of insanity from The Princess Bride, but it's like stepping from the sidewalk to the curb in reality,
Literally.
Yeah. Just, and it's going back to like the spouse conversation. It's such a difference in what I see. It is, you have to remember that people around you want to keep you safe. Mm-hmm. And safe doesn't mean living your best fulfilled life. Safe means
in your box,
doing what you've always done, like familiar patterns. Mm-hmm. And so, I think for many of us, like, what I love, Laurie, what you're talking about is like, when you make that decision first, like you came and said, I know my body is talking. I am listening. I am choosing this. And instead of asking for permission, which often ignites the partner, spouse, family member, let me keep you safe by doing what you've already done, which is going to be, do you really think that's a good idea? I don't know. Like it's going to bring up the question. You came in your body and said, I'm requesting your support. And I think beyond that, like what's I think even more amazing from a partnership level is you invited him into your vision, and you invited him to stand next to you, and you invited him to like be on the path with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. And be in that place. I'm beyond grateful that I have a partner who every time that I'm like, so I have this crazy idea, he's like, do it. Yes. Like he's learned enough that my crazy ideas, that the leap of it. Actually, the funny thing is, he also has learned, because you mentioned like that contraction and contraction being part of this process too, because it's not separate from, he always laughs whenever I'm in a contraction, which for me is like crying, like I get really bratty and grumpy and I'm like having this breakdown. He'll be like, it's going to be okay because you get like this. And then like a couple of weeks later, something amazing happens. Like, not that I can sidestep that. I wish I could say that I can avoid it. Like I understand the process. So all of a sudden I don't have to go through the fear and the frustration and that like painful surrender. You know, like there's the surrender that your brain does that says, I'm going to surrender so I can get what I want, which is not the real surrender. Like the real surrender is like, you legit have to
like you hit a wall.
Yeah. You know, like, I laugh because I can now see the part where my brain is like, I'm going to do the surrender, which is like not the surrender control surrender. Anyway, I'm babbling.
No, it's so,
but like, I love how we're not saying that your partner or spouse isn't part of the process. We're saying that like, they're very much a part of this. And it starts with you, like,
knowing,
choosing like, I know that I want to feel like inspired, empowered, free, open, expansive. I know that this is how I want to feel. And I acknowledge that whatever this choice is, this trip, this experience, this, job opportunity, whatever it is, I know that feeling is there for me. And I love the questions like, do you trust me? Do you like that is a way to invite the person that you love most to come in and be a part of the manifestation. Like that, I just love that so much. So beautiful. Would you be open to sharing maybe a little bit of just embodiment experience?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's go ahead and I like to just shimmy in my chair and
shimmy. I'm all about a shimmy.
Shimmy, shimmy. Yeah. And just let your body just relax. Let's go ahead and close our eyes and just bring the awareness. I like to first bring the awareness to the sides of your eyes because for some reason we just hold so much tension there. We don't even realize it. So let's take a nice deep breath in through our nose and out through our mouth and just bring the intention to the sides of the eyes and behind the eyes and just allow them to relax just a little bit more. Let that energy continue to find its way back behind your eyes until it nestles into that space, the top of our head, the top of our mind, the space between our temples. And just imagine that there's just this beautiful, abundant, golden, glittery sphere of light. And you can just feel the warmth behind your eyes, between your temples. You can just feel it just flowing within you with that warmth from the inside outward. Maybe you feel it through your scalp and maybe it's up towards the top of the sky. Maybe it's left and right and all around you. I like to imagine that it's like this beautiful shower head and an outdoor Maui shower, and it's set to waterfall setting. And it's just this beautiful golden, watery light energy. And it's just trickling down your hair and down the sides of your cheeks, down till it comes to your neck. And maybe you just start to move your neck from side to side. Maybe just notice a little bit more openness or a little bit more of that tension just wash away. And as this beautiful energy cascades down your neck and lands on your shoulders, and it just feels like just this beautiful massage just beating on your shoulders and your upper neck and back area. And it begins to make its way down the sides of your arms, the fronts of your chest and back. And it's just, you just notice it following the line of your spine from top to bottom until it wraps around the front of your stomach and low back and hips and thighs and knees and your legs. And you're just totally enveloped all the way from head to toe in just this beautiful golden waterfall light. And you start to just notice just the sensations on your skin just a little bit more. You start to notice that your hands and wrists just feel a little bit more open and loose. And you start to feel your legs and your thighs just relax a little bit more. And take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And it's almost like you feel a little tremble from the earth beneath you. And these roots just come from the bottoms of your feet, from these beautiful feet that do so much for us all day long, supporting us, taking us from place to place and where we want to go. Let's just take a moment of gratitude for our amazing feet, the foundation that supports us, our connection to the earth beneath us, where we root and ground down to help and support and guide our embodiment, guide how we want to feel, be out in nature, whatever that looks like for you. And just begin to notice these amazing roots and this rumble of groundedness coming from the bottoms of your feet and shooting down into the earth beneath you. And it's almost like this beautiful, I call it the waterfall braid of just these gorgeous thin roots just braiding their way down, all the way down through the earth. They're to the left of you, to the right of you, they're in front of you, they're behind you. You are just completely surrounded by this beautiful rooting energy as these roots make their way down, down, down into the earth. And you start to feel like the warmth of the core of the earth. You can feel that warmth now coming up towards your feet, this beautiful core energy where everything emanates from. This beautiful fire, this spark within the earth. I like to imagine it's the same spark that lives within us. And as these roots just crash land into this amazing fireball, glowing energy of the core of the earth, it ignites these roots, and then these fires, these sparks, these golden flames just make their way up this beautiful interwebbing of beautiful roots that are connecting you to this beautiful spark of connection, connecting you to the earth. And as you look up, you can just see just making its way all the way back up those roots until it lands and back into the soles of your feet and just travels back up your ankles, your calves, behind your knees, around your knees, supporting you, back up your thighs until it comes to rest in the base of your pelvic bowl, where your inner compass, your intuition, those knowings that lead you when you're onto something, when something just is like, that is what I want to do. That's what it feels like when you just know, and just acknowledge that fireball, that spark, as it just lands there for a moment. And just let's just thank our intuition that's always there guiding us and leading us, and that compass that sends us those beautiful nudges of like, that would be awesome. And as this fireball continues its way back up your spine, it spirals around in this beautiful dance until it reaches out to your heart and ignites that heart, that beautiful heart that just beats for us and just does all the work without us having to do anything. And just thank it as it delivers all of the blood, your immune system, and everything throughout your body and keeps us alive. And as it touches your heart, it just ignites that spark of passion, that spark of, that's what I want to do, that spark of purpose, that spark that is that thing that's like gets you out of bed in the morning so that your feet hit the floor and you're just like, yeah, that spark. Just feel that just emanate in your heart, that warmth, that glow. And as this beautiful fireball of root connection makes its way across your chest and back up your shoulders and neck and jaw and cheeks, and it just comes back to land in that space at the top of your head, behind your eyes, between your temples. And just let it just come to rest there. And take a nice, deep, beautiful breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, knowing that your body, your intuition, your heart, your passion, and your mind are all now connected. And you can step into that possibility and how you want to feel. One more nice deep breath in and out. And open your eyes.
Oh my goodness. That was amazing. Oh.
Yeah. You just feel that
Wow.
expansion, right? Yeah.
I feel like a shimmery little troll doll. Wow. Yes, I agree, Mary Pat. That was delicious. Wow.
Thank you, Mary Pat.
Oh my gosh. So Laurie is one of our BodyMind ambassadors. So make sure you go check out her contributions in the BodyMind Living magazine. And Laurie, for the folks who are joining us today, who are listening in, for those amazing women who are ready to manifest their financial freedom, where can they find you?
Oh, good question. So I have my website, harmonybalanceflow.com. And also, yeah, I know, right? Because we could all use some more harmony, balance, and flow. Laura, you actually helped me name my beautiful website. And
you chose it. I just got to be on the bridge along the way.
But it was, I love it though. I love it. I love it. And I'm also on Facebook. I have my Being You Financially Free Facebook community. And that's where you can, two big places to find me. And amazing. Magazine.
Yes. Yeah. And also I want to clarify, because I know we talked about your massage practice. You work with people online, so even if you're not in the area, people can contact you and connect with you.
Yeah, 100% online now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Love that. Any parting words that you want to share?
Yes. Step into possibility, right? Just try it on. Just like it's a sweater, just like literally. And something that I used that really helped me get started was like, I'm open to creative possibilities and magical solutions. And it was just something that helped me get started to step into that. So, and just play. It's so fun. It's so great. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.